乔康路这边的85度C 不是要开的吗？
Wasn't the 85-degree bakery on Chaokang Road supposed to open? How come it closed before even opening? They're still chasing the electricity bills. Remember the 85-degree at Hongyang Plaza? They opened half of it and still couldn't make it work. Now it seems like the 85-degree on our Daoganxing Chaokang Road is about to close too. What happened to 85-degree?
现在这2年面包店、蛋糕店感觉特别多，竞争特别激烈。
In the past 2 years, it feels like there are way more bakeries and cake shops. The competition is super intense. Slowly, when you want to have bread, you might just forget about it. Other than this one spot, the other 3 corners of the street keep changing owners, and 85-degree is also about to be gone. The memories from Sanshi East Road that used to belong to those born in the 80s and 90s are getting fewer and fewer.
Some online users expressed their surprise, saying they used to wait in line to buy from the store. After over a decade of operation, the 85-degree C bakery has now closed its doors. As more and more nostalgic videos appear online, many users are realizing that the closure wave of the famous Taiwanese bakery brand 85-degree C has already spread across many locations. On December 27th, the 85-degree C bakery located on Wulong Road in Jinan officially announced its closure.
山市东路这一家开了13年的85度C。
The 85-degree on Sanshi East Road, which has been open for 13 years, holds so many people's memories. I never expected that today I'd see it's about to close. When I was a kid, whenever I saw my aunt or when she came out to visit us, she'd bring 85-degree bread or cake. Eating 85-degree as a child felt so fancy.
According to a report by National Business Daily, the store on Zichun Road in Beijing closed on October 19th, leaving only the Baiguang Road location still open at that time. When asked about the closure, Ms. Su from the Public Affairs Department of the company's headquarters explained in an interview that the store closures in the mainland market were part of a strategic adjustment, emphasizing selecting the best and phasing out the rest. However, unexpectedly, the Baiguang Road store, which was seen as Beijing's last bastion, didn't last long either. Subsequent reports confirmed that the store officially ceased operations on October 31st due to the expiration of its lease. Statistics show that the bakery brand, known as the pioneer of internet-famous bread in China, has been closing stores in major cities like Hangzhou, Shanghai, Nanjing, and Jinan since the start of 2025. Not long ago, 85-degree C's parent company, Gourmet Master, publicly stated that it would close over 40 stores in mainland China in 2025. The data suggests that these closures are the result of continued financial pressure. According to the latest data, 85-degree C's losses in mainland China for the year amounted to 400 million new Taiwan dollars, about 12.77 million US dollars. The company's performance had already weakened in 2024. Gourmet Master's 2024 financial report revealed that 85-degree C's market sales dropped to about 257 million US dollars, a decline of over 20% compared to the previous year. The company's losses for the first half of 2024 reached about 6.38 million US dollars. The brand has been consistently losing money since the second half of 2023. Beijing-based consultant Cao Panpan, founder of Angao Management Consulting and General Secretary of the World Federation of the Chinese Catering Industry, believes that it's best to cut losses, as the current stores cannot reverse the losses. 85-degree C entered Shanghai in 2007 and reached a historical peak of 589 stores in mainland China in May 2018, contributing over 70% of the group's revenue at the time. However, as the business focus shifted and the market contracted, the number of stores in mainland China has now dropped to just over 400. However, it's worth noting that the company's U.S. operations have become its main growth driver. 85-degree C entered the California market in 2008, and with its affordable pricing and diverse product offerings, it gained a strong foothold. A single store in Los Angeles can generate monthly revenue of up to 650,000 US dollars, outperforming the company's stores in Taiwan and mainland China. In 2024, the U.S. market generated approximately 250 million US dollars in revenue and continued to grow. The group expects to exceed 100 stores in the U.S. by 2026. Sadly, the entire Chinese bakery industry is now on a downward trajectory. The wave of store closures is spreading faster than the market expected. Many once popular bakery brands are disappearing. On December 27th, the supermarket bakery in Chengdu marked its final day of operation and officially closed the following day. The closure meant that all remaining stores of supermarket bakery in the Chengdu market have shut down. Meanwhile, the popular bakery brand A Yohe bakery closed 2 of its stores in Shanghai in October 2025, including one at the Shanghai Global Harbor, which lasted only about 10 months before ceasing operations. Even the Hangzhou-based chain Happy Cow, which had secured millions of dollars in funding, announced its complete exit in June 2025. At the same time, capital retreat is accelerating. Currently, Swire Group is moving forward with the exit of its stake in the bakery chain Q Bakery. Once a star project with over 400 stores nationwide and an initial investment of nearly $180 million, it now faces a change of ownership. While large chain brands and capital-backed projects shrink, small and medium-sized bakery brands are in an even more difficult situation. Around July 2025, the bakery brand Sun Bakery, based in Quanzhou, Fujian, was reported to have closed more than 20 of its direct-operated and franchise stores overnight. After posting an internal adjustment notice on its doors, all the stores ceased operations. Soon after, the company's headquarters shut down, and all external communication channels were cut off, leading many to consider this a classic case of runaway closure. This incident not only left many consumers unable to use the remaining balances on their gift cards, but also caused significant risk for franchisees who faced difficulties recovering their initial investments. Data shows that by December 15th, the number of bakery stores in China had decreased by about 88,000. A survey released by Meituan revealed that the average lifespan of a bakery store in China is just 32 months, with more than 57% of stores closing within 2 years of opening. Beyond these numbers, the real pressure is being felt by countless individual operators who are struggling to keep their businesses afloat. A bakery owner warned that they spent hundreds of thousands on equipment, only for it to be abandoned after just a few months of operation. Running a bakery is tough, and newcomers should avoid opening a store impulsively. The owner of a bakery equipment recycling business also mentioned that this year has been especially difficult.
3个月亏了50多万。
Lost over 500,000 in 3 months. I've never seen a year like this for bakeries. In previous years, February and March were peak times for opening new stores, but this year, it's turned into a wave of closures. Now, every day, I get calls from bakery owners asking me to pick up their equipment.
According to Chinese media, bakery brands that once appeared glamorous are now focusing on surviving. Why has this happened? Looking at the bigger picture, the decline of the bakery industry in China is not accidental. It has been gradually pushed to this point by the overall economic environment. In 2025, China's economy continued to grow slowly. To be blunt, growth is more reliant on investments and policies than on people genuinely spending. For ordinary people, the noticeable change isn't the GDP growth, but the increasing sense of uncertainty. Wages are rising slowly, job stability is uncertain, and it's becoming harder to see a clear path for advancement. Moreover, the housing market has remained sluggish in recent years, leading many households to adjust their mindset. Real estate is no longer the guaranteed appreciating asset. Instead, it has become a long-term pressure. As home prices fall and wealth on paper shrinks, people are tightening their wallets. This sense of uncertainty quickly reflects in spending habits. People aren't completely cutting back on spending, but they're becoming more frugal, prioritizing expenses that are non-negotiable, like food, commuting, healthcare, and children's education. As for discretionary spending aimed at pleasure, ritual, or instant gratification, they cut back. Bakeries fall into this category. Avoiding them doesn't lead to any immediate consequences, and there are many alternatives. When budgets tighten, bakery products are naturally pushed aside. The more immediate issue is that changes in the job market are directly affecting the core customer base of bakeries. Young customers, once the primary supporters of internet-famous bakeries, are now the group most under pressure from rising employment difficulties. With increasing job pressures and lower income expectations, their spending behavior has become more cautious. They've shifted from treating themselves to saving wherever possible. Furthermore, excessive internal competition within the industry is accelerating the decline. Over the past decade, driven by entrepreneurial enthusiasm and capital, many brands entered the market. While this rapid expansion raised the industry profile for a while, it also significantly lowered the entry barriers and profit margins. Brands scrambled for traffic and exposure, but rarely improved efficiency or cost control. Homogeneous products flooded the market, and even bestsellers were quickly copied by other stores. In contrast, supermarkets and convenience stores have a clear price advantage. Large chain supermarkets, warehouse membership stores, and convenience stores typically offer fresh bread at prices much lower than independent bakeries. For example, a common pack of milk bread rolls, which cost just a few RMB, can be found in most mainstream supermarkets across the country. In convenience stores, similar sweet or savory bread rolls typically cost between 5 and 12 RMB. Some warehouse stores even sell a box of 24 rolls for just a few dozen RMB, making the per-item price cheaper than at street bakeries. This price pressure has significantly compressed the pricing space for independent bakeries. For ordinary consumers, a bag of cheap bread rolls is enough to replace a higher-priced but relatively similar product at a bakery. This is a typical result of internal competition leading to a price war. Especially in the current macroeconomic environment, where residents' income expectations are weakening and spending budgets are tightening, the sensitivity to price is further magnified. Thus, the severe internal competition and endless price wars in the bakery industry are not just the result of oversupply, but also reflect the shift towards more rational consumption on the demand side. Economists have also analyzed that under the combined effects of falling consumption and severe internal competition, rising costs are another major challenge faced by internet-famous bakery brands. To attract customers, bakeries often have to set up shop in dense areas such as malls, office buildings, and communities. On top of that, the prices of quality ingredients like butter and flour have been rising, and marketing costs have skyrocketed. These factors have squeezed bakeries' profit margins severely. The rise in raw material prices is partly due to global supply chain fluctuations. The aftermath of the pandemic and geopolitical conflicts have driven up the prices of imports like butter and flour. As a major baking country, China has a huge demand for imported dairy products and grains, but currency fluctuations and tariff barriers have added to the cost burden. For instance, in 2025, the international price of butter increased by an average of 20%, directly impacting domestic bakeries. At the same time, labor and rent costs within China are also soaring. In first-tier cities, mall rents can easily reach tens of thousands of yuan per month. For a 100 square meter store, this can be the breaking point. A report from Huaan Securities used a 100 square meter bakery in the city as a case study. With a monthly revenue of 270,000 yuan, the raw material costs, estimated at 35% of revenue, amounted to around 95,000 yuan. Rent and utilities cost about 60,000 yuan, and labor costs totaled around 91,000 yuan. Most of the gross profit was eaten up by rising costs, leaving the store with a net monthly profit of only about 24,000 yuan. If we dig deeper into why the Chinese bakery industry has experienced such a large-scale and concentrated downturn in a short time, one long-standing but rarely discussed factor stands out: the involvement of local governments in the business ecosystem. This influence doesn't manifest as bans or restrictions, but through investment logic, commercial planning, and resource allocation. It subtly changes the environment for consumer industries. For a long time, local governments held significant sway in urban development. To achieve political goals, generate tax revenue, and create a good image, resources were often prioritized for large visible projects with short-term impact, such as commercial complexes, large shopping districts, and landmark consumer spaces. Once these projects were completed, the numbers looked good and the image was easy to sell. Under this logic, industries like baking and dining, which serve basic consumer needs, were often treated as mere accessories to these larger projects. This approach didn't show immediate problems when the market was thriving, but once consumer demand weakened and foot traffic decreased, these small businesses, initially seen as supporting elements, were the first to feel the pressure and the easiest to replace or eliminate. The more practical issue is that local governments tend to focus more on how many projects they can attract, rather than whether these projects can survive long-term. During the investment phase, there are plenty of rent discounts, decoration subsidies, and policy promises. But once the project is up and running, the operating risks are quickly passed on to the market, and essentially to the business owners. In this mechanism, the bakery industry has become one of the most vulnerable sectors. In the end, many industry insiders believe that this round of upheaval in the bakery industry doesn't mean the market will soon rebound or return to the crazy expansion days of the past. That is quite frankly unlikely. Looking at the bigger picture, changes in the bakery industry are actually a microcosm of broader shifts in China's consumer market. As people become more cautious about the future, investments are made more discriminately, and growth is no longer assumed to be guaranteed. Industries that were once sustained by enthusiasm, confidence, and the belief that tomorrow will be better are all experiencing similar growing pains.